Hi all, this is Jackie, homeschool mom to 4 and former teacher, and I'm here to talk to you about kindergarten. I just started homeschooling my third child, who is 5, for his kindergarten. And I've homeschooled my 2 older daughters already in their kindergarten experiences, and so I'm kind of drawing on the experience of the older 2 and telling you what I'm doing now and how it works and why it's working better. My approach is really a low stress approach. I'm hoping to give you guys a feeling of freedom for kindergarten. I really don't follow curriculum very much at all. I use curriculum as resources only, and do my best to avoid as much of lesson plans and games and crafts and activities as I can, because I really believe in keeping kindergarten simple for the mom and for the child so that they can experience more life and less manufactured life, I guess is how I would put it. So how I do that is by thinking about kindergarten as 5 goals. My 5 objectives for kindergarten kind of drives how I create my schedule and what I do. And those 5 goals can be achieved in less than 90 minutes a day. Our current schedule is 45 minutes after breakfast and 30 minutes in the afternoon. And that's all the academics that we do together. So, and that's working really well. Now, I will say with my 5-year-old, I did start his kindergarten experience when he was 4 because he was just ready. I think that he's on the advanced side of things and just was capable, and so I started that, and I'm totally all for that because basically you want to get them as independent as possible, as quickly as possible, especially if you have a bunch of other kids, which I do. So but let me tell you my 5 kindergarten objectives, and then I'm going to kind of go through each one, how you can do it. So here they are. My first one, and this seems like a big one, but I'm going to try to parse it out for you, is that they learn how to read. Again, I'm going to parse that out for you, but that is the biggest objective for kindergarten because they really can't become independent learners without learning how to read. So that's the big push, and if all the other things get pushed aside, that's the one you want to focus on. So they learn how to read. Number 2 is that they learn how to write and form their letters on paper. I like for them to be able to exit kindergarten having the ability to write things. Now, if the child is just not doing well with that, I think it can be pushed. Number 3 is that they develop a sense of why we read books, so literacy. So just reading with your child together so that they want to learn how to read. And the 4th one is math, and math is of course this big topic, but for my objective for math for kindergarten is number sense. I think a lot of curriculums put a lot of other stuff in there, but when you boil it down, they need to know their numbers from 0 to 100 at least, and up to moving into the hundreds. They need to understand what those are, and they need to understand adding and subtracting numbers, which is just we're adding on or we're taking away. And if you stop there with math, then any other first grade curriculum is going to pick up from there just fine. So those are my first 4 objectives, and the 5th one is kind of a ballpark overall one, which is they need to understand that from now on they'll be doing lessons for part of their day. So they need to have a kind of a structure and an expectation. So those are the 5 things, and if you look at and evaluate all of whatever resources you have, curriculums, but resources, according to those 5 things, you can narrow down and take away a lot of excess material. So let me explain how that works. So the first objective is learn to read. Okay, that seems really big, and I remember when I was first starting with my first, I was like, I don't know anything. I'm not a reading instructor. I don't know anything about teaching them how to read. When I taught in school, I started in second grade and I taught second, third, and fourth, and then I went on to teach high school. But my kids came into second grade knowing how to read. So this seemed very big to me. But when I kind of went about that process, I figured out that basically learning to read means that they learn their letters, the sounds of the letters, so their basic alphabet, they learn their letters. Then they start learning some phonograms, which are just basically two letters that say the same sound, like SH says sh. So they start learning some of those, and they learn how to blend those letters together to make a word. So when I began teaching with just those 3 steps in mind, and really I should have said the phonograms third, because you can start blending with just your 26 letters. I would teach the 26 letters one letter at a time, and throughout that process start giving them words to blend together. So I taught my son his 26 letters within 2 months just using note cards. Just A says ah. Okay, you say that. A says ah. B says b. All right, then go back to A. Do you remember what A says? A says ah. And then you just keep going through the note cards, and eventually they will learn all their letters, their letter sounds. But then you start giving them words. It, right? You write it really big. I actually like to use my computer and write it really big in a Word document, and then I have the words that we've previously done as I keep moving down that document. And then you sound it out with them. So we know I says I, so we're going to say I. T says t, so we're going to say t. So let's say that together. I, t. Okay, now we're going to extend that out. It. Right? Extend out our sounds. It. And basically, you do that over and over and over with more and more different words, and they start getting the idea of blending. Now, this sounds like it's onerous, but really it takes 10 minutes a day, maybe 15 minutes max, and they will be reading within 6 months. That has been my experience with all 3 of mine. My 5-year-old is now reading simple sentences just with this approach. After a while of 3-letter words, you introduce those multi-letter phonograms, and so my 5-year-old knows about 10 of those thus far, like the SH, sh, or the TH, and then you give them words that have those phonograms in them, and then eventually you string the words together into short sentences. And I have used also learning to read in 100 easy lessons, and I like that. That's basically this approach, but I kind of like making up my own words and my own stuff sometimes. So I kind of go back and forth. Sometimes I'll use their paragraphs that they have in there to read together, and sometimes I won't. So that's kind of learning to read, and it's pretty simple if you boil it down to that, and you don't need to create a bunch of games or, card games to learn the phonograms or whatever. My philosophy is just, we're going to just spend 10 minutes a day on this. We're not going to extend it out beyond that. And if we just make a little teeny bit of progress every day, we're doing great. We're doing fine. And we'll get there. So that's the first objective, learn to read. My approach to handwriting is the same. I just get a blank pad of paper that has the guidelines, the top, the bottom, the midline, and I write out a letter for them, telling them where to start the pencil. I'm doing an A for you. Where to start the pencil and how to bring it around and back up and then down that line and up, and then I ask them to do that. I'm showing them, of course, how to hold their pencil and all of that, but if you know how to write, you can do this. You can show them how to write. My big thing with handwriting is you don't do too much of it at a time, 10 minutes at max, because they get squirrely and start being all yucky. Yucky is how I describe it to my 5-year-old. So keep it real simple. We write 3 to 5 A's, and then we move on to B's. And the next day we write the A's and the B's and move on to C's. And we just keep reviewing previous letters while we add new letters, and eventually they're writing their whole alphabet. So that's goal number 2. Goal number 3 is that they develop a sense of why books are cool, right? And so basically that means just read to them. So we read at lunchtime, and we are reading Winnie the Pooh right now, which is what we're starting with this year. But that is just because my older girls need something that they can be interested in too. So I'm kind of trying to find books that my 5-year-old can listen to and enjoy, and so can my older girls. But you can also do picture books and smaller chapter books, but good books, interesting books that they actually want to listen to, and that trains them as to, or it gives them a motivation, I should say, as to why they're learning to read. And, literature all the way through in homeschooling is just that. Read books and talk about them together. So that's goal number 3. Goal number 4 is to develop number sense. Now, a lot of people feel really intimidated by math, and want that curricular structure. But I have found, we use a curriculum from first grade on called Beast Academy, and we absolutely love it. So if you know where you're going, the curriculum you're headed to, and you know kind of where it starts and picks up, and you just kind of get a feel for what they need to know in order to do that curriculum. And I've seen a bunch of first grade curriculums, and I kind of just know that you just really need number sense in kindergarten, and then first grade curriculums will pick up from there. And so I don't really think you need a curriculum for that, although you can use resources like I've used The Good and the Beautiful, has a free math curriculum that I just put it on my computer, and I would just loosely use the pictures basically to create math create math interactions with my son. And again, 15 minutes a day was all I would do. So I would use the pictures, say, okay, let's add these together. Let's take them away now. I would use a hundreds chart. Let's count to 100. Let's count by 5s. Let's count by 10s. And then a whiteboard, writing different numbers down and explaining what they are, and talking about, what would 63 seals look like, and would that be a lot or a little, and just 10 to 15 minutes of general math, number sense, and concepts, and then teaching them addition and subtraction is enough to prepare them for their first grade curriculum. Now, I have also pulled first grade into kindergarten for math. So Aaron right now is actually starting on our Beast Academy level 1, which is for first grade. And I do it with him, and then I have him do it by himself. So I do the lesson with him, and then he goes back and does it again by himself. And that's working just fine. And so if he's ahead in math, that's great. That's no problem with that. But, that just makes me feel like I can kind of go at a more leisurely pace as we go on, but it's not necessary. And for the 5th one, this creating a structure, a sense of how we are a student now and what that means. So how I do that is, again, 45 minutes in the morning, we start with Xtra Math, which is a program that teaches them their math facts, and Aaron's just ready for that. I would usually start that later, but he knows basic addition so well already that he's ready to start improving on those math facts and getting them quicker. So he does that for 10 minutes by himself, and then he does Mobymax, which is a program I use for spelling. So I've created a word list that Mobymax will train them in those words by giving them the words, having them type them in, and get them right multiple times in a row before they will take that word away and replace it with a new word. And both of those he can do independently. And then we come together and read our paragraph together. Right now we're using 100 Easy Lessons. We've also used the Bob books, but that's where we are right now. I've also done that on my computer and creating my own sentences and those type of things, but he's beyond that stage now. So we're able to actually read Bob books and things together. And then we do our handwriting if he's able. Otherwise, we push it to the afternoon. And then in the afternoon, we come together after lunch, after we've done literature at lunchtime. My older girls have independent work to do, and I work with Aaron on Beast Academy for about 20-25 minutes, and then handwriting. And so that's the schedule. And then the kind of the system I have in place to make sure he's he's doing what he ought to be doing is that he understands that he has to get his lessons done that day in order to watch anything that night. And we tend to watch a 30-minute program before bed, Wildcrats or those type of Coyote Peterson, those type of shows. And he has to get his lessons done. If he's not doing a good job, then mommy's going to get up and leave. And we only have a certain amount of time to do these lessons. So if he doesn't get it done, he'll miss his show that night. I'm going to get up and leave and come back maybe 5 minutes later and see if he's ready to do his work with me. And so he will lose time and may not finish his lessons. And then he's going to be doing them later in the night when everyone else is watching something. Or he'll just skip them that day if I'm not able to do them, but he still is not able to watch his program. I also have little rewards along the way, like if you get your Mobymax done in 5 minutes, then you get a Tic Tac. So little things. But that type of structure and that sense of, okay, we have to get this done and we have to do it with a happy heart and a good attitude, that gives them that sense of I'm a student now. And so I get my work done and then I have playtime. So yeah, that's what we're doing for kindergarten. It's working really well. It's everything I feel like they need in order to be successful. And I hope that feels possible for you. If you have any questions, put them in the comments and I'll see if I can answer them. And like this video if you felt like it was helpful, and let me know. All right, bye.